One of the most important fights in UFC history will happen on March 6th when middleweight champion Israel Adesanya takes on light heavyweight champion Jan Blachowicz. You may ask, why is this so important? If Israel were to lose, we may never see John Jones versus Israel. We've already been robbed of Khabib versus Tony, so let's not hope this happens again. Also, with that loss, we probably won't see Israel ever make his heavyweight debut. And with the win, Israel could turn into UFC's new Conor. Israel and Conor both have massive supporters and haters, and for Israel, that will only grow if he were to become a double champion. Here are the top 5 reasons why Israel destroys Jan Blachowicz. And our first reason is speed, and this should not come as a surprise, but what Israel said might help make our case for it. Israel said he's not putting on weight, that he's going to come in whatever weight he weighs as middleweight when he fights Jan. So this should only increase that speed advantage, and with Jan being one of the bigger fighters, it should only help Israel, right? And then also, Israel has one of the best movements in the sport. When he's in danger, his way of dodging, dipping, and just moving out the way is second to none. And then with Jan being the bigger fighter, he's going to have to conserve his energy instead of chasing Israel around. And the second reason, we have counters. Israel is a very patient and calculated fighter. He will wait until you make a mistake before he launches any heavy strikes. In the meantime, he will chop down your calves, destroying your mobility. Even though Israel is not the strongest fighter, his timing allows him to knock out bigger opponents. And the third reason, we have stand-up. Israel has a kickboxing record of 75 wins and 5 defeats, and an MMA record of 20 wins and 0 defeats, with 15 knockouts, while Jan has an MMA record of 27 wins and 8 defeats, with 8 knockouts. You might say Jan has more power, which could be true, but you have to remember that there's more to striking than just power. Israel's past 3 opponents were stronger than him, and they hit harder than him, but they all couldn't land the shot that they wanted. When Jan did face another kickboxer in Thiago Santos, he got knocked out. Jan's best bet to win the fight is actually taking it to the floor. With his combo of punches and kicks, Israel is not only the best middleweight striker and the best light heavyweight striker, he could be the best striker in UFC history. I want you to go back and watch 2 fights, Israel versus Paulo Costa and Israel versus Derek Brunson. Those 2 guys are both rushers, right? Brunson took the approach to rush Israel. Israel was able to counter him every single time. And with Paulo Costa, he could never find the range. He was passive. So that's what makes Israel such a smart fighter. He's able to deal with the rush, and he's able to deal with people who play passive, such as Yoel Romero and Paulo Costa. And then the fourth reason is takedown defense. I know, I said Jan should take Israel down 5 seconds ago, but it'll be tough because so far no one in the UFC has had success. Israel's reaction time stopped nearly all takedowns, but if you do take him down, it's hard to keep him there. And with Israel recently getting his purple belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, it will only help his chances. And in our final reason why Israel will win is simply that Israel has a better chin than Jan. Israel had over 100 professional wins under his belt and has only been knocked out once. Jan, on the other hand, has 27 wins and has been knocked out 3 times. We saw Israel take some huge shots from Kevin Gastelum and Robert Whittaker. Jan's last time being knocked out came from Thiago Santos, who, just like Israel, is another former kickboxing champion, and Thiago Santos' knockout looks extremely similar to how Israel knocked out Robert Whittaker. So when it comes to chin, we know that Israel can eat heavier strikes than Jan, and potentially that could save him and win the fight. But what are your thoughts? Who do you think is going to win this fight, Jan or Israel? Let me know in the comments down below, and thanks for watching.